Welcome to COVID Comms. My name is Clifford Morgan. I'm an organisational psychologist helping you thrive throughout COVID-19. In the last episode, we were talking about what you need to focus on, and in this episode, hey, it's what are you ignoring? I spoke in our last episode about the importance of controlling your attention and being intentional about where we place our focus. If you're going to be a high performer in the midst of a crisis, then being intentional about your attention is important, whether you are focusing on a detailed, specific task or whether you're dealing with strategy and the bigger picture. It's going to be important whether you are at work or whether you're at home, engaging with your family and looking after your well-being. Being able to clearly articulate where you should be placing your attention allows you to be intentional about doing so. But by the very nature of focusing on something, that means you are going to have to ignore something else. My question to you is, do you know what you're ignoring? Just as we need to be intentional about articulating what we are going to focus on, we need to clearly articulate what we are going to ignore so we can be intentional about ignoring it. I was talking about this concept with David Neal last week, and big shout out to David and Jonathan Clark at the 8th Mile Consulting. You and your team are doing great work. But David was telling me that when they do strategic planning with a client, they spend time eliciting what is outside the scope of the strategy, what the company will not get involved in. They're articulating what they're going to ignore. See, there's two things that are going to happen if you don't spend time specifying what you're going to ignore. The first is that you're going to get distracted. You know, there is so much out there that seems relevant to your situation, and there's many possible solutions to the problems that you face. However, some of them can take you down a rabbit hole or on a course that is away from your vision. So if you're trying to stay across every source of information and pursue multiple strategies, you're not going to get to where you need to be. You're not going to be focused enough. Secondly, you're going to ignore things you shouldn't be ignoring. You'll miss opportunities you should be making the most of. You won't invest in important relationships. You might move forward in one area of life, but you're likely to regress in many other areas. That's okay, as long as you intend to do so. If you're not being intentional, you're going to end up somewhere where you didn't intend. So, do you know what you should be ignoring today? If you can't clearly articulate it, you can't be intentional about ignoring the right things. So what do you need to ignore? Put it in the comments box below. And if you know someone who needs to be more intentional about what they ignore, why don't you share this video with them? That's it for today. Stay tuned. We'll have more COVID comms coming up later in the week. But until then, lead well.